What it do, cucks? Summerslam is mercifully over, and here we are to talk about it. First of all, thanks to anyone that joined the live stream. I had a great time. I hope you guys did as well. Now, with all that out of the way, let's get to the topic at hand: the SummerSlam review. Okay, personally, I thought this was mid in all capacities. Everything was predictable, and we've talked about everything that was going to happen, and it happened exactly like I said it would, with some slight variations here, but generally speaking, nothing here was out of left field. We start off with Liv Morgan and versus Rhea Ripley, right? The match is mid, it's a good match for what it is. Liv Morgan is just excellent. I really enjoy her work. Basically, the match is back and forth, but Liv Morgan's character, she does good work in portraying the character for what it is, right? She's like this rough and tough, like small but pugnacious girl, Like she does like random ass headbutts and things like that, which I thought was pretty cool. But the whole story of the match is basically Rhea's arm is hurt, and this is what gives Liv Morgan an opportunity to, get ahead, right? I thought this was pretty clever considering that in my preview I explained that like they can't really do a 50-50 match considering the fact that Liv Morgan is 50% of Rhea Ripley's size. The match culminates with Rhea Ripley getting a chair, and she's about to strike Liv Morgan. Dominic comes out of nowhere, pulls the chair off, right? But he explains to her, and the announcers make sure that the dumb people watching understand, basically, that Rhea Ripley cannot win, obviously, by DQ, right? She's going to lose, and if she loses, then, she doesn't get the title, right? Even if she gets revenge. So basically, that doesn't work. Then there comes a point where Dominic throws a chair in the middle of the match. This is after Liv Morgan hits the Oblivion. Then Liv Morgan hits it again on the chair and pins Rhea Ripley 1, 2, 3, right? After the match, Dominic and Liv Morgan kiss, right? So this was like, I obviously predicted this to the T. I said, obviously, he's going to choose Liv Morgan. But it was still cool, right? It was still cool in execution. Now, it could have been way better. For example, Dominic could have actually cost Rhea Ripley the match, like, legitimately. Meaning that he could have just, like, grabbed her leg or something and let Liv Morgan, so that the moment of betrayal is clear and it happens during the match, not after the match. Because until the match ended, it wasn't clear whether Dominic meant to do it or not. So that was a little bit weird. But anyways, Dominic chooses Liv Morgan, and quite honestly, this makes sense to me, kayfabe-wise, right? Why the hell would Dominic prefer Rhea Ripley to Liv Morgan? It doesn't make any sense, right? I mean, I'm not saying that, in kayfabe, Rhea Ripley mistreats him, because that would be an exaggeration, but she doesn't respect him, right? Like, that's kind of the whole shtick of their gimmick. And basically, Liv makes him feel like a man. That's the angle they're going with. So, considering what this was obviously a great segment, a great match. I enjoyed this thoroughly, Probably the most enjoyable women's match of any capacity that I've seen in God knows how long, since like Stephanie McMahon versus Alita. You know what I mean? So I really enjoyed this. This was really great. Next up, we had Braun Breaker versus Sami Zayn in what essentially was a squash match, right? The only issue that I had with this is that it went on too long. It was like 5 minutes. It should have been like 2. But the story was basically, can Sami Zayn get it done? Despite the fact that Sami Zayn said that now it's not about proving anything, now it's about kicking someone's ass, the story was once again, can Sami Zayn prove himself, right? Because the announcers are the ones that tell the story, and the announcers are complete shit at their jobs, right? This was like inexcusable how bad the announcers are, Pat McAfee needs to be fired immediately. This guy's not a good announcer. But anyways, and also, one quick thing. In the first match, Pat McAfee and Michael Cole, instead of like one of them taking the side of Dominic, they both take the anti-Dominic stance, right? They just both hate Dominic. I couldn't help but think, if Jerry the King Lawler and JR were calling this, it would obviously be 100 times better, because JR would be like, that's despicable. And Jerry would be like, haha, you read what you saw, JR. She should have mistreated him. And he would have automatically taken the side of the lecherous Dominic Mysterio. That's the whole point of having color commentary. It's not to have two idiots that agree with each other, two dorks, right? After one of the matches, Pat McAfee puts over, Michael Cole puts over the Pat McAfee downloadable content for WWE 2K24, right? And Pat McAfee's like, it's a dream come true, and then Michael Cole was like, the fans seem to love it, and Pat McAfee luckily says, no, they don't, because he knows they don't, right? It was really stupid, and the whole segment just pretty much reeked of stupidity, because Pat McAfee acknowledges the fans don't want this, and he was like, but it was a dream come true. Great, thank you for allowing me to finance your dream inadvertently, right? I got like the version that had all the DLC, because I wanted some of the DLC, and they're cheaper in a bundle, but basically I'm paying to finance Pat McAfee's stupid dream to be a WWE wrestler. Anyways, I don't care. It is what it is. Nevertheless, this was one of many, many commercials. Then there was the match between Braun Breaker and Sami Zayn. Nothing to write home about here. Basically, the match ends with Braun Breaker hitting one spear and then hitting another spear and pinning Sami Zayn easily, right? Braun Breaker obviously excelled in this match. He did a Breakensteiner, as Pat McAfee calls it now, which is a stupid name, which is basically the top rope Frankensteiner. He did that. He did like a bunch of other shit. He did the spears. He just rules, right? Sami Zayn is complete garbage. This guy shouldn't be here. And, several months ago I said that the way that you would build, in my opinion, Braun Breaker would be to have him come out and squash Gunther, right? Then you can pass that off as a fluke, and then Gunther can go and become the world champion if need be. Those were basically my exact words. This is exactly what happened. The only difference is that they interjected Sami Zayn in the middle for no reason whatsoever, right? By the transitive property, Sami Zayn beat Gunther, and Braun Breaker beat Sami Zayn. So Braun Breaker is better than Gunther, right? Same shit happened. And basically, Sami Zayn's WrestleMania victory was presented as a fluke, right? Because Pat McAfee and Corey Graves made sure to tell us all the fucking time that basically, and Michael Cole as well, that this is a fluke and that this should have happened. So, Sami Zayn went on to have like basically one of the worst title reigns of all time. And Gunther went on to become King of the Ring and now the World Heavyweight Champion, which is one of the matches we're going to talk about in a minute. But basically, my booking would have been much better. Number one, you wouldn't have had Sami Zayn in the middle of this for absolutely no fucking reason, right? Braun Breaker would now be like a multiple month Intercontinental Champion, so he'd be ready for the main event sooner rather than later. Gunther would be in the exact same position he's in, right? More on that, in a second. And there you go. So they basically did what I said to do, except for some reason they stuck Sami Zayn there in the middle, mostly because they're stupid and they don't understand how writing works. But whatever, I don't make the rules, right? Next up, we had LA Knight versus Logan Paul. Again, nothing to write home about here. Basically, Logan Paul has his celebrity friends on the outside. One of them is Machine Gun Kelly, who needs to be nominated for biggest douche in the history of the world. Like, this guy's just a douchebag. Like, I'm not one of the people that hates him. You know what I mean? I'm not one of the people that thinks he's a dork. I mean, obviously I do, but like, I could give a shit about his like shitty, music career. I don't care. I don't hate him on that level. I just look at him and I just want to beat his ass. You know what I mean? I just like I wish I could just slap this guy right in the face. He'd do fucking nothing too. He's like 6'5", like 110 pounds. I'd break this guy over my knee. You know what I mean? But this guy, and the fact that he comes out trying to be cool, it's like, this is like my video a few days ago about how like music is not cool. He pretty much encapsulates that perfectly. Just a bunch of dorks. There's going to be more on that later, right? So LA Knight wins. The match wasn't anything great, but the finishing sequence was awesome. It was just very, very fluid. Basically, Machine Gun Kelly gives Logan a chain. Logan wraps the chain around his arm, and he's going to go for the phenomenal forearm. Basically, this is countered into a BFT. But it was just done lightning quick. LA Knight wins. Now, the problem is they've presented this as like a crowning achievement of LA Knight, and in my opinion, I don't think it is at all. LA Knight should be the world champion, but I'm pretty sure this is going to be the ceiling. He's never going to be the world champion. Number one. Number two, they played all the promos that Logan Paul cut against LA Knight, and unfortunately, even though I like LA Knight, everything that Logan Paul said is 100% true. Like, Logan Paul's been wrestling for like 3 years. LA Knight's been wrestling for like 25 years. And in 3 years, Logan Paul accomplished more than LA Knight did. And it's not, obviously he's a celebrity, so you got this, jump the line. But he is better than LA Knight. Like, if we're being honest, right? Like, in terms of like athleticism, it's not even close. Like, I think right now, Logan Paul is the best athlete that they have in AEW. He'd probably beat LA Knight's ass in real life. LA Knight is more charismatic, but not much more, right? And also he's younger. So like, LA Knight is like a proper man, and like, Logan Paul and his friends are like boys. So like, that's a thing that goes against him. But if Logan Paul decided to do this full time, he would be one of the greats. And I think we all know that deep down inside, right? Like there'd be no need to have like a Dolph Ziggler and AJ Styles, like because he can do everything those guys can do, but better, you know. Anyways, this is good. It's good that LA Knight won the title because it frees up Logan Paul to move on to the main event where he clearly belongs. And likewise, LA Knight, like if this is the ceiling, then you know he's hit his ceiling. I hope it's not, but I think it is. Then we got Nia Jax versus Bayley. This was really dumb. The match starts. The entire point of the storyline is Bayley needs to prove herself against Nia Jax as the number one contender because she won the Queen of the Ring. Nia Jax wins after hitting 2 Annihilators when Tiffany Stratton comes and distracts Bayley by pretending to cash in the Money in the Bank. Tiffany Stratton is now like, Nia Jax's lackey, and this is obviously what's going to happen. Is she's going to turn on Nia Jax and win the title. So this is a complete waste of everyone's time. Like, it's not going to be a surprise. It's going to be really stupid. So thus far, there's been no surprises today. Everything that was supposed to happen has happened, right? I predicted all of this. I said Braun Breaker's going to win. I said LA Knight's going to win. I said Liv Morgan's going to win. So nothing special here. And obviously Nia Jax is going to win to mercifully end the worst title reign in women's wrestling history, the Bayley title reign. Next up, we have Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk. This one I did not predict correctly. But this match was atrocious. I hated everything about this. The match pretty much culminates with Seth Rollins, who has no reason to be there at all. Seth Rollins picks up CM Punk's bracelet, and the bracelet storyline starts again. CM Punk is pissed off that Rollins has the bracelet, so he hits Rollins with a GTS, right? After Rollins berates him and says like, it's not always about you. Like, Rollins is right here, right? And CM Punk overreacted. As a result, McIntyre whoops his ass, hits the Claymore, and for some reason, Seth Rollins reluctantly counts. I don't know why. Like, it's like the guy just attacked you for no reason, and like, what, you don't want Drew McIntyre to win? You know what I mean? Because Drew McIntyre didn't attack you, right? Drew McIntyre fought the match fair and square. It was good to see Drew McIntyre win, but I don't suspect that, the feud between Drew and Seth is going to be over just like this, right? But it's possible. It's all going to depend. I can't believe I'm saying this. It's all going to depend on who the fuck has possession of the bracelet, If Drew McIntyre has possession of it, then he's feuding with him. If Seth Rollins has possession of it, he's feuding with Seth Rollins. If the hater has possession of it, then he's feuding with the hater. If Rusty Shackleford, one of my fans, has the bracelet, then expect to see Rusty Shackleford versus Seth Rollins. Versus CM Punk, you know what I mean? So this match was boring. I didn't like it. Then we had Gunther versus Damian Priest, which I would say was a pretty good match, only because of Damian Priest. Right before this, they do like a little preview of the Damian Priest like mini documentary, when he was fat and homeless, and now like he's made it basically, right? They have a discussion with Finn Balor, which pretty much lets the audience know that Finn Balor is about to turn on him, right? This was obvious to me immediately as soon as Dominic betrayed Rhea Ripley. Judgment Day is over. Dominic and Rhea Ripley are the Judgment Day. Nobody gives a rat's ass about Damian Priest. So with that being said, I knew it was going to end any moment. There's a few little segments throughout the night that led us to believe that that was going to happen, but mostly it was just a Dominic situation, right? And that's exactly how that shit went down in the DMA go down. So that's how that went down. Basically, Damian Priest beats the shit out of Gunther. He hits a choke slam, then he hits another, then he hits another. He hits only 2 choke slams, but he's just doing all these cool ass moves, and Gunther's pretty much doing clotheslines and chops. Complete disaster, right? Basically, the match ends with Damian Priest hitting the Razor's Edge, and then I think he hit another South of Heaven choke slam and pinned Gunther. Now, Gunther rolled all the way to the edge of the ropes, and for some reason, Damian Priest, I guess, didn't want to waste time, so he didn't pull him. He pins him, but Gunther cannot get his foot on the rope. However, Finn Balor puts Gunther's foot on the rope. Damian Priest catches the replay, right? That was kind of lame, but he catches the replay, and he's angry at Finn. Gunther puts on the worst sleeper hold of all time. Then, this was a cool moment. Damian Priest fights off of it, kind of, right? He does like a roll, like a back roll, and then Gunther lets him go. And then instead of going after Gunther, he tries to go after Finn Balor. Gunther does a powerbomb and a sleeper. Like, he does 2 boring-ass moves, basically, and makes Damian Priest pass out, right? And that's the end of that. Gunther is then hailed as, like, perhaps the best wrestler alive by that complete retard, Pat McAfee, right? Like, we just saw, like, based on the presentation of the match, Gunther is, like, he's inferior to Damian Priest, right? This match overall just didn't feel like a world title match. None of the people involved, including Finn Balor, belong in the world title picture. But if anyone is going to belong in that, it's Damian Priest. Gunther basically, you can't say he cheated because he didn't control what Finn Balor did. But as far as the mat is sacred, that's horseshit, right? And Gunther didn't prove anything. So the feud here was Gunther's going to prove that his upbringing is superior to like Damian Priest's upbringing by beating him in a ring, if that makes any sense. But he couldn't really do it, right? He didn't prove that. He won the match, but he didn't prove that he was superior. And as a result, who the hell cares, right? Like, this title reign is already tainted. This guy lost to Sami Zayn at Mania, and now he's the make-believe world champion after beating Damian Priest in a match where he shouldn't have beaten him. But it is what it is. This is the way they went with it. Deal with it, cucks. Next up, we have the main event. This was horrific. It starts out with Cucky Rhodes and his dog. And Michael Cole starts telling us how the dog has been there with Cody the whole time. Like, I don't give a flying fuck. But that's it for the dog's not going to travel with Cody anymore, right? First of all, it's like basically cruel to make a dog travel with you this much, right? Like, because wrestlers travel every day, right? Poor dog's going to like lose years of life just from the stress of moving around. Especially now that Cody has a family that doesn't travel with him. How about leave the dog with a family, right? I guess that's what they're doing now. Nevertheless, the cuckster, Cucky Rhodes, comes out and basically, as he's coming out, he runs into Arn Anderson. Arn Anderson just wastes everybody's time cutting this like old man promo. You know what I mean? He just cuts this old promo. He's like stumbling his words, doesn't know what the fuck he's saying. He's like, I got backup for tonight, is essentially the gist of what Arn Anderson says to the cuckster himself. Cucky comes out with his overproduced entrance. It's boring. Solo Sikoa is out by himself. Michael Cole makes note of this by saying, oh, I'm surprised that Solo Sikoa is out by himself. Well, we all know how Bloodline Rules works. They come up whenever the fuck they want. So the match keeps going, and the match is completely boring because you know that basically the match doesn't start until the interference starts, because that's just how this match is set up. So everything that's happened is complete bullshit. Eventually, like, Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa come out. Tonga Loa, like, grabs Cody, and he's gonna, like, basically, he, like, runs towards him as if he's gonna, like, pick him up and slam him against the corner, but he fucking botches this. Basically, the one move that Tonga Loa was supposed to do in WWE, like, thus far he's been employed for 3 months, he's had to do one move, and this was the move, and he botched it. So this guy is just like, he really is like, he's batting zero, right? He's like complete failure, right? They do their little horseshit move, then Kevin Owens and Randy Orton come out, right? They fight off these jobbers, but they all end up in the back fighting each other, right? Like, Kevin Owens is bigger than both, or he's bigger than Tama Tonga. Randy Orton obviously towers over everybody. They're fighting each other. Randy Orton comes out to the ring taking his time, like doing high fives with the crowd. I mean, he's like jogging, but he's like doing high fives and interacting, and it's really stupid because you're supposed to be like saving your friend from a beatdown. You know what I mean? Your friends, I should say. A beatdown. So they do that, and obviously Jacob Fatu isn't here, so the match still hasn't started as far as I'm concerned. Basically what happens then is Cody and Solo wrestle a little bit more. Jacob Fatu comes out, starts destroying Cody Rhodes. Cody no-sells the Jacob Fatu triple moonsault. That move's dead in the water. Then they whoop his ass some more. They put him on the table on the outside. Fatu just jumps from the top turnbuckle, does the Samoan splash, right? Because all he did was a Samoan moveset, and puts Cody through the table. Then Jacob Fatu hurts his leg. This was an interesting way to neutralize him as a character, right? So now it's just one-on-one. So how about just let it be one-on-one? They don't want to do that. It is what it is. They're wrestling. Cody gets the steps, hits Solo Sikoa twice with the steps in the head. Solo no-sells it, spears Cody. Then sets up Cody in the corner, but he puts the stairs in the corner, and he's going to go for the Samoan ass slam. So he goes for the ass slam, the running ass, right? And Cody moves out. He hits his ass on the edge of the steps. Michael Cole talks about this, right? As a result, Cody does like a springboard, like the Cody cutter, but from the corner, not from the ropes. And they're both down, right? And then, sound effects happen, and Roman Reigns comes out wearing a OTC shirt, which must stand for original tribal chief or one tribal chief or something tribal chief, right? Probably original tribal chief. He comes out slowly, but the music, they changed the music maybe to make it more face music, but it was really stupid. Like, I would have just done it like Roman Reigns' music just hits without any added sound effects, and he just comes out slowly as Solo Sikoa stares him down. This did not work, right? Roman Reigns came out. He looked a little bit weird too, whatever, right? He comes out there, and then now this moment, which was great, the fans were losing their minds, is ruined by retarded Pat McAfee, right? Retarded Pat McAfee and Michael Cole are just like talking throughout this whole fucking time. Oh, why do you think he's here? Oh, I think he's after the man that beat him at WrestleMania. And then Graves is like, maybe he's after the guy that took the tribal chief. Yeah, we know it's one of those two. Fucking morons. We know that he's there to kick some ass, obviously, right? We're not stupid. We're not like as stupid as the announcers think we are, right? But they just won't shut the hell up. There's a moment happening here, and the moment demands some silence. But no, right? No. They have to talk and basically ruin the moment. Roman Reigns comes in. Obviously, he attacks Solo Sikoa, who has been taunting him for weeks. And they're like, oh my God, he's going after Solo. He destroys Solo. Cody Rhodes picks him up, hits the crossroads, and pins Solo Sikoa's fat ass. Right? Now, Roman Reigns is all out there, like, just looking at Cody, and Cody Rhodes is like selling it, selling the beating. And the Cody Rhodes music is playing. Really, really, really bad return for Roman Reigns, just ruined by his lack of presence. He had this weird look to him, like he shaved his beard differently. Like, I don't know, he just didn't look like the Roman Reigns that I expected. The crowd was definitely behind it, but the announcers ruined it. Speaking of ruining things, before I log off here, I want to make two more quick points. Number one, throughout this SummerSlam, we fucking heard the Jelly Roll song like 100 times. First of all, this fat bastard performed it at the opening, right? Then every 5 minutes, they're like, don't forget, Jelly Roll's new single is out. Oh, Jelly Roll's new single, the official song of SummerSlam. Like, shut the fuck up. First of all, it's an asshole named Jelly Roll, right? Shit, I should have made my music sucks video today. Fucking Jelly Roll, man. This is what people listen to now? Jelly Roll. It's like some fat bastard with like face tattoos. You know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I've heard of this guy. And then, like, Pat McAfee's like the country legend. He's not a country legend. No, he isn't, motherfucks. That's another thing that we have to tolerate today. Pat McAfee's like, Sami Zayn's a future Hall of Famer. And maybe he is, but he shouldn't be, right? Sami Zayn's not a legend. Sami Zayn's a jobber. He's been like his whole career he's been a jobber, But whatever, I digress. Jelly Roll is not a country legend, right? Country legend would be like Johnny Cash, like, I don't know, Reba McIntyre, fucking the Dixie Chicks, who else we got? Like, Willie Nelson, a bunch of people like that, a bunch of old motherfuckers, right? And of the new ones, maybe like Garth Brooks, Toby Keith, those are country legends. Fucking Jelly Roll, I'm not even sure his music can be qualified as country. And speaking of Jelly Roll, we have this weird-ass segment today. The Miz and R-Truth come out and do their shtick. The Miz was the host. He pretty much was there to say the show's starting. And then at the end, he was there to say, oh, we broke the attendance record. So as they do this, R-Truth is out there with him, and R-Truth is doing his I'm retarded gimmick, right? And R-Truth is like, oh, it's the Rockers or whatever, or the Midnight Express, I forget. He like some other tag team, because Grayson Waller and fucking Austin Theory come out. Austin Theory's arms look like Bobby Lashley's arms. This guy's fucking jacked, motherfuckers. I can't believe this guy's being saddled with this bullshit. But like, this is a guy that beat John Cena, and now he's being paired up with this fucking loser like Grayson Waller. You know what I mean? Like, if like, in my opinion at least, if the word douchebag didn't exist, like if we didn't have the word douchebag in the dictionary, right? You would invent it naturally. You would just come up with the word douchebag if you saw Grayson Waller and Jelly Roll and fucking Cody Rhodes today. You would be like, douchebag. That's a good word. Let's use it to describe these three assholes, right? So basically, Grayson Waller and Austin Theory come out for no reason, right? And they just start shitting on Cleveland. This was like Scooby-Doo villainy like level shit, right? They basically just come out there like, Cleveland sucks. Everyone boos, of course, right? They make fun of Cleveland. And then basically, like, Jelly Roll comes in with a chair, and R-Truth and The Miz, and of course, Jelly Roll beat them up. At the end, basically, Jelly Roll just grabs Theory by the throat, and Theory jumps up really high, so it looks like Jelly Roll just chokeslammed him. In my opinion, Theory now needs to be released. There is no coming back from this. This is not, you can't come back from the myriad humiliations that Austin Theory has had to endure. First of all, the primary humiliation of being paired up with Grayson Waller. Like, Austin Theory is better than Grayson Waller at everything. But for some reason, they keep pairing him up with this asshole, Grayson Waller, who I can't believe has a job. But whatever. You know, that's fine. Sometimes people get bad tag team partners, right? But then he gets humiliated like every couple of weeks. It was either this Friday or the Friday before, Terrence Crawford just like knocks him out, right? Like just humiliates him right there. Then a musician, and now, it's one thing if like Flo Rida pushes Heath Slater. You know, people are like, oh, I can't believe they buried Heath Slater by having Flo Rida like push him into a door and knock him out. Because two things. Number one, Heath Slater's a jobber, right? And Flo Rida is like a big dude. He's like a muscular guy. But to have Austin Theory, who's supposed to be this like prospect type, right? To have him be beaten by a fat ass musician, you know? Like, I mean, Jinder was a big guy. Maybe he can beat him up in real life. Who knows? But the optics are just not good, right? So that the 1,000 sponsorships, but everything in this pay-per-view cannot be topped by far the worst segment. The worst segment of the night was a segment selling some product from Manscaped. Basically, Apollo Crews and Baron Corbin are now in a We're Friends tag team, right? And like, that's basically it. Like, they're basically one step away from being released. Like before people get released, they get put in a We're Friends tag team, and then they get released. So Apollo Crews and Baron Corbin are in the back, and they're shaving each other's heads, right? Because they're both bald, right? Manscaped has like basically produced a new head shaving apparatus, right? These things, like Manscaped is one of the most brilliant companies of all time because you can get the same shit from Alibaba or AliExpress for like $1 instead of like $90, whatever the fuck Manscaped sells it for, right? So it's the same shit. It's just branding basically. So good for them. But Manscaped came up with this head shaving razor essentially, right? And then Alpha Academy come there, and you know, instead of selling this on like by having Maxime Dupree be like, oh, I love bald men or something like that, right? They just have Otis take it and he starts shaving his stomach, right? He's like, Manscaped, like the new razor. And I was like, I couldn't think of anything more humiliating than this, right? It's like, it brings me back to my Austin Theory, Baron Corbin video, right? It's just like the humiliation of like, you're an athlete, you've worked your whole life to be here, to be a wrestler. Apollo Crews is like he's built like a fridge. This guy's just solid muscle and athleticism. And his role now is to sell Manscaped shit. You know what I'm saying? You got like 4 legit wrestlers. Like, there was a point where people were talking about Akira Tozawa the same way you talked about Daniel Bryan. Most people don't know this. But during Dragon Gate and shit like that, people were saying Tozawa was one of the best wrestlers in the world. And now he's like the 4th guy in a commercial about Manscaped, right? And also just the general reality that there's commercials in the middle of the show. I don't like that. But anyways, the show was mid. It was saved by 2 segments. Obviously, Roman Reigns coming back, even though that segment was ruined. And the best segment of the night easily was the Liv Morgan Dominic. Like, Dominic and Liv are fucking carrying this company on their backs at this point, right? Like, Dominic, I don't give a shit what you say. Nobody in the world thought Dominic would get this good this fast. Or honestly, nobody in the world thought that Dominic would get this good ever. So, there you have it. Dominic and Liv are the MVPs. Everyone else sucks. Take care of yourself, cuckolds.